So it's how do you grow your sales 37% in 30 days? Yes, that is not a typo. Now, let me ask you a question. Give me a Hannes, I got your email. I see it just came through. Did I pronounce your name correctly, by the way? Give me a thumbs up if I did. Oh, cool. All right. How many of you, give me a clap emoji if you have a business or work for a company that's established. Okay, clap emoji if you work for a business that's established or have a business that's established. Okay, okay, all right, we got a good mixture in here. Give me a thumbs up if you work for a newer company and you don't really have a large customer base or client base. Give me a thumbs up if it's a newer business. Okay, Hannes. Okay, Blish. Hope I pronounced that correctly. All right, excellent. Well, we got a decent assortment here. So today, what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk through the process with the tactics, with the technique and strategy. And by the way, a tactic is something you do. And a tactic in and of itself, as Sun Tzu, who wrote Art of War, said, tactics without strategy. And if you know Sun Tzu, excuse me, Sun Tzu was a military genius and wrote the book Art of War. And he said, tactics without strategy is a noise before defeat. He also said strategy without tactics is the slowest route to victory. So you need both of those. FYI, BTW, I will have a Q&A at the end. So if you want to come up on stage at the end and ask questions about what we're going to discuss today, or just any questions about sales or you need help with marketing, I'd be glad to help you out, okay? And I don't hold back. All right. So I was frustrated as a sales rep working for a company. This is where I learned this process. I worked for other people most of my life, and there was always something missing. And with this one particular company I worked with, it was frustrating. We were doing everything that everyone was doing in the industry. We were stopping by our clients. We had a line card, and it's like, hey, just wanted to check in, see how you're doing. That type of language, which everyone does, falls flat. And it's not going to lead to upsells and cross-sells because you're not going to develop a relationship with your clients, okay? And so I just had a sense there's something, they have all these clients, all these customers, whatever you want to call them, okay? And we were using this antiquated system and process going way back to how people used to sell in the 90s and whatnot. And a lot of people still sell this way today. And I saw a huge opportunity because we had a plethora of clients, but the process that we were using, as I mentioned, was what everyone else is doing. Stop by, touching base. By the way, that's one of my pet peeves. Hey, I just wanted to touch base. Okay? Take people out to lunch. Something was missing. As I mentioned, everybody in the industry was doing this. We didn't differentiate ourselves from anyone else. We didn't distinguish ourselves from anyone else. And by the way, if you don't distinguish and differentiate yourself from your competition, you know what? You're going to sound like everyone else. I'm going to give you something that from the get-go, when you onboard a new client, this is going to help ensure you have a deep, meaningful relationship, professional relationship, which will lead to a longer and it will increase your lifetime value, LTV, your lifetime value with your clients. And at the heart of it is building an in-depth relationship where they are comfortable talking with you about the good, the bad, and the ugly. So we are missing out on some critical things with our clients. And all the information with your clients goes below the surface. And you're not going to get below the surface to understand them if you don't build the professional relationships. By the way, 87% of B2B businesses surveyed do not have a formalized, professional way to onboard, to understand where their clients are currently when they first onboard a customer, when they first onboard a client. 87% of B2B businesses, okay, don't have a formalized process to identify where they are as they're onboarding them and to track the progress in a formalized way throughout the longevity, throughout the duration of them having their clients. Big, big, huge mistake. Okay. So, as I mentioned, I was getting frustrated. And do you ever have that gut, that feeling in your gut, if you're working for another company or even for your business, it feels like you're missing something in how you're communicating. It feels like you know that there's some way that you should be doing something better, but you just don't know what that is. Let me segue to something to make a point here. I was at the eye doctor, it's about a month ago, and the eye doctor was they put the things on your eyes and they have you read the chart and how about the bottom line. And then she got up from her chair. She removed the lenses from my eyes that they were testing me to see which ones, to see if I needed to update my contacts or whatnot. And she removed that from my face and she started shining this flashlight in my left eye. And she kept doing it. I go, Doc, is everything okay? And then she sat back down and she put the lenses back on my face and she said, can you see that bottom line with your left eye? And I said, yes, perfectly. Then she switched the lenses. You know how they do at the doctors when they're testing your eyesight. And they said, how about now? I said, no, it's really blurry. She said, that's your present eyesight. If you don't get this corrected, you could be blind in this eye. Okay? Now, just to let you all know, technology is amazing. They could just replace the lens in my eye and I'm going to be fine. But here's my point. I had an expert from the outside looking at my eye, and I didn't realize my eyesight was bad. I was just getting used to doing the same thing over and over and over again because I had a nearsight contact and a farsight contact, and I think I noticed things from time to time. But it wasn't until I had that eye appointment with the ophthalmologist that I realized, oh my gosh, I'm going blind in my left eye. And in business, if you don't have an expert from the outside helping you see the problem that you have, you're going to miss something. You could be going blind in your business in the direction you're going because you keep doing today what you did yesterday. So what I hope to do is shine a light on some of those blind spots you have in your business by walking through a process which, as I mentioned, 87% of B2B businesses surveyed don't have in place, okay? And here's another statistic for you. 86% of those who build an in-depth relationship with clients turn one-time clients into loyal brand champions. That's from Kairos, all right? So it's not just having someone who buys something from you, a service, a coaching program, a consulting contract with you. They become repeat clients and they refer other people to you. Clients, loyal brand champions, meaning they're champion you to other people. So what we're going to talk about today not only is going to build your lifetime value with your clients, it's going to lead to upsells and cross-sells. It's going to also lead to recommendations and referrals. So as I was frustrated going through this with the company that I was working for, I came across this thing that they created called a Blue Pass. And the leadership of the company put all this time and effort into this Blue Pass. And this is what I'm talking about. If you share this, I will give you a copy of the template from this. Actually, it's going to be the original one. It'll be a Word document. Maybe I can make it a Google Doc so I can share the link to it. Okay, so if you share this, I'll get a notification. I'll share this with you. So the blue pass they created is they knew something was missing, the leadership of this company, but they created this blue pass that showed the time frame when the customer started with them, with us at the time when I was working for this company, and they had this was in distribution when I worked in distribution, and they had the on-time shipping, they had the back orders, and they had all these different things scored, and then they also had recommendations based on the blue pass to review. And so great. Here's a tactic. It's a blue pass. Remember, Sun Tzu, tactics without strategy is a noise before defeat. But they did not have a strategy and a technique to present the blue pass in a way that made sense. And so they would stop by, hey, here's a blue pass. And people look up, oh, this is kind of cool and new. And that was it. So they spent all this time, months upon months, creating this blue pass, creating a system to document all this information, and they would have handed to their salespeople before I started there, and they'd drop it off, and hey, this thing ain't, it's like, hey, this is cool, but ain't nothing else happened. So I had an idea when I saw this blue pass, and I got together with my mentor, Dick Brooks at the time, and we created a strategy with this blue pass. Check this out. This company that I worked with, they had a maximum previously of 200,000, approximately 201,000, I think it was, in upsells and cross-sells in a 12-month period. With the strategy that I'm about to take you through, we went from $201,000 in upsells and cross-sells to $3.9 million. Yes, that's not a typo. I know this is audio, but I didn't misspeak, okay? $3.9 million from $201,000 to $3.9 million in 12 months. Chaz, that sounds great, but what happened? How did you do it? How does this work? Okay, just hold on. I'm going to get to that. All right? So, what we did is we changed how we use this blue pass by adding a strategy so that we formalize the process to present this to our clients. And so let me get Jamie. By the way, there's Jamie. She's being promoted to a business development rep in our company. So awesome, Jay. I'm excited for that. Let's imagine I'm talking to Jamie and she's my client. And let me ask you a question. With your clients, do you have more than one decision maker when you're calling on your clients? Is there more than one? Give me a thumbs up if it is. Give me a clap emoji. Okay, thank you. There's one. Give me a clap emoji if there's only one decision makers in the companies that you serve. Okay. One. Okay, Anna. Okay, so we got two. Okay. Another one. Anybody else? So it's thumbs up for multiple decision or for let me do this. Thumbs up for multiple decision makers and clap emoji for one decision maker. Okay. Again, if I know a lot of times you get busy and you're doing a lot of other things and you stop by and sometimes you just have this on the background. If you want to utilize this process, the more you engage, the better for you. Okay? And it's the funner, the better experience you'll have. Okay. So what we did with this blue pass, with this information, I would reach out and say, Jamie's my client. And I would say, and let's imagine I have Jamie is my main point of contact and she's an influencer, but not the main decision maker. And so I would call Jamie. I said, Jamie, this is Chaz. Do you have a brief minute? Sure. We just created what we call a blue pass. I'll explain what that means in a second, and I need your help. We're looking to improve our systems and processes, and I was hoping to get some time to meet with you so that you can give us some honest feedback, the good, the bad, and the ugly about our services currently. We don't want you to hold back. I don't want you to hold back. Would it be okay to set up a time to meet with you for 30 minutes? Now, do you see the difference there with how I'm setting that up as opposed to stopping by, oh, here's a blue pass and put it on their desk? It's not a formalized process. There's no strategy there. Now, I'm reaching out to Jamie, in this conversation. she's my client, my main contact, but she's not the only she's not the only decision maker. She's just an influencer. So she would come back. Typically, they'll say yes. So just by doing this with a formalized process and saying, we're looking to improve our systems and processes, which was 100% correct. It's not about making something up, okay? You should always be looking for ways to improve your systems and processes. And this is a great way to do that. So we have a blue pass and wanted to review this with you. Would it be okay to schedule a time? Sure. And so understand, do you see I'm creating a culture where it's safe for them to tell me, hey, Chaz, you guys stink. You have to create that culture with your clients where you can have open dialogue and have those difficult conversations. If you don't, guess what? You may have your client one day and they'll be gone the next. Because if there's a problem, you're going to miss it. And I'm going to tell you a story about how we took a client that we were going to lose, but because of this, we turned them around and they actually started giving us $100,000 more in business monthly. So, okay, Jamie, I appreciate that. Now, I know that Dan and Mike and Sue have been involved in the process at the beginning, but I haven't talked with them in a long time. By the way, these are other decision makers that I don't normally talk with. Would it be okay to invite them into the conversation because I'd like to get their feedback as well? So not only am I talking to my main point of contact, I'm leveraging this blue pass to get feedback to help improve our systems and processes with them, and I'm bringing additional decision makers into the conversation. So by doing this, on average, we were able to get 1 to 2 additional decision makers involved in the conversation that were and these typically were the decision makers because we were dealing with decent sized companies. These typically were the decision makers that were involved in the process for us to onboard, but then really didn't know much about us. So we scheduled a meeting. We have other people in the meeting. And then I have this blue pass, which is a Word document. And I was reviewing this with them live and in person, but you can do this online. Now I do this online. I just actually reviewed this with one of my clients this week. And we would get into the conversation. I'm like, Jamie, Doug, Bob, Sue, thanks for meeting with me today. As I expressed to Jamie, we have a blue pass and we want to get your feedback on this. This also has a scorecard. And we put this together because we want to improve our systems and processes. Yes, I'm being redundant on purpose, and you should be. Because people's time and attention is short, and they'll forget what you say if you just say it once. And plus, these other people weren't in the conversation with Jamie. So I would take the blue pass out, and I would review the different items that we're providing for them. I would review some of the scores on the delivery and whatnot. And just so you know, this was in distribution at the time, but I've used this with technology. I've used this with the service industry. I've used this with consulting. I've used this with coaching. And I would review the past. And I said, based on what I'm looking at, curious, it seems like we're doing, if this was a grade card in A, but maybe I'm missing something. Can you give me some feedback on our performance for you as a company? And I don't want you to hold back the good, bad, and the ugly. So in this case with Siemens, one of the people who were a decision maker said, Chaz, we're looking to stop using you as a supplier. I was like, whoa. and I said, on a scale of 1 to 5, 5 being tops, 1 being terrible, where would you score us? And he said, I'd score you a 2. And so my heart sunk, and I'm like, ouch. let me know why you're scoring me a 2. He goes, I'll tell you exactly why. We had a project in Central America, and the items that you had for this project, they were very inexpensive, but because they were late to the project, we were fined tens of thousands of dollars because it delayed the project. Ouch. So I'm here in person with all these decision makers and I'm dying. Can anyone relate to me? Have you guys ever been in a situation and you're thinking, hey, yay, you're great. But you realize, hey, you're missing something. So with this, are you guys still tracking with me? Can you hear me okay? Okay, thank you so much. All right. So here I am with this Blue Pass. I'm reviewing it with them. I think we're doing great. I give them the permission to tell us the good, bad, and the ugly, and someone tells me about the ugly. And I'm like, you know what, John, I am so sorry about this. Could you allow me to go back and find out exactly what happened and schedule a time to review what happened? I get it if you guys don't want to ever work with us again. Okay? I get it and understand. All right? And he said, sure. So I went back to my office. I'm like, guys, what the heck happened with this? What did you do? And we found out a flaw in our system and we corrected it so it wouldn't happen again. And we scheduled a lunch with all these people and we made a corrective action. And we said, thank you so much for pointing out. This was Siemens, by the way, a large company. And they were doing good business with us, probably about $80,000 a month at the time. And I said, this is what we did wrong. This is why it happened. Because of you identifying, we made a major mistake. And we really appreciate that. That allowed us to correct this in our system. And we walked through our corrective action. And we said, this will make sure that it never, ever happens again. And so they said, we appreciate it. And we had some open dialogue and we connected in a deep and meaningful way. Key distinction for all of you. If you get into those difficult conversations with your clients and customers, if you own your failures, great book on the subject, by the way, I recommend Extreme Ownership. It's all about owning your failures, all right? If you own your failures in humility and with sincerity and look for ways to correct it, people know that people make mistakes. They make mistakes. And if you remove your ego and address the problem and own it and come back with a corrective action, you're going to go from being someone they don't want to work with to someone who's going to be, I'm holding my hand way over my head. You can't see it. If you get the replay, you will be able to see this. You'll be someone who they look at and respect head and shoulders above your competition because most people don't own their failures in this fashion. So, guess what? 45 days later, they gave us additional work. It went from $80K a month to close to $200K a month because of this Blue Pass that we reviewed with them. We identified a problem they had. And by the way, if we didn't have a formalized process, they would have been gone and we may not have never found out because I only had my one point of contact. You guys understand what I'm saying here? We're leveraging a resource, a Blue Pass, which includes a scorecard with our clients. We're leveraging it to get honest feedback. We're creating a culture where that's safe for them to tell us the good, bad, and the ugly. And we're also leveraging it to get the other decision makers into the conversation who we don't normally talk with. You guys understand what I'm throwing down here? It works. So went from losing a client that was giving us spending about $80K a month to going to almost to $200K a month because we had a corrective action and we owned our failure. All right. Can I tell you all something? This is from HubSpot. 93% of your clients are likely to continue to purchase from you again and again and again after a positive experience. This is a statistic from HubSpot. Nothing is more positive than making a deep connection than having a real conversation with your clients. You get to this level of conversation with your clients and you will differentiate yourself. They'll remember you and they will want to do business with you. Okay. Now, when I put this, the copy, when I wrote the copy, meaning the written portion of this post promoting this event, I talked about for established businesses. But even if you don't have established businesses and you start to execute with this pass, you can use blue pass because that's my company color. I mean, your company colors could be red and black, a red and black pass, a red pass, whatever it may be, an orange pass. I have a client who they call it a set to pass because it's within their verbiage and their company and how they communicate with their clients. And they started to use this pass to develop relationships as they're onboarding their clients. So not just with clients that you've had for a while. If you're a newer business and you don't have a lot of clients, if you utilize this pass, and again, if you send me or if you share this event, see the share button down there, I'll get a notification and I'll give you the template from the original blue pass. Okay. And you'll probably have some questions on that when after you receive it, and just ask and I'll be happy to share, but it'll give you an understanding and idea based on what I'm talking about. Since we don't have a visual here, since it's audio. Okay. So if you hit share, I will share this with you because I'll get a notification. For all of you that are coming into this and like, Chaz, yes, I have some clients or I don't have clients, but I really need to look to identify and onboard new clients predictably. If you send me an email, chazhorn@chazhorn.com, again, first last name at first last name, and put sales and marketing analysis in the subject line, we'll have a 20-minute conversation. I'll analyze your sales process and your marketing strategy within tabs, TTABS. Tactic, what you do. Technique, that's how you do what you do. A is your attitude, your perspective, your mindset. Nothing happens well without having the right mindset and perspective in business. B is the behaviors. Those are the activities that you do that move the needle. If you do a certain number of calls or direct messages or content, you schedule a certain amount of meetings, qualified, and then onboard a certain amount of clients. And then S is strategy. That's about speaking directly to your target audience's needs and wants in a way that builds confidence in their mind about you and your solution being able to solve their problem. So if you want a sales and marketing analysis, email me, chazhorn@chazhorn.com. It'll be a 20-minute conversation. You'll be glad you did. This isn't going to be some heavy hand sales pitch. That's not how I operate. It'll be open dialogue. You'll get clarity. With clarity, you'll have confidence. And with confidence, that will build momentum. I'll show you this isn't working. This is the problem. This is why. This is what you need to do. So send me an email, sales and marketing analysis. I'd be happy to talk with you. Okay. Now, here's a statistic for you by Bain & Company. By just increasing retention with your clients by 5%, it can lead to an increase in profits by 25 to 95%. Okay, this is Bain & Company. So let's talk about why things aren't happening, because there's 3 mistakes that you're making most likely because you're here. You don't have a formalized process to onboard a client, so they don't express precisely where they are before they start with you. And so it's not down on paper or in a specific way. So when you start with someone, they know, let me pick on someone here, Sandra. So before I get started, Sandra's onboarding me as a client, and she says, Chaz, based on what I do here, where would you rank yourself on a scale of 1 to 5? I said, probably like a 2. It's like, okay, now you're onboarding them. They're admitting that out of 5, they're a 2. You have this on your blue pass, which you start with, or orange pass, your pass with scorecard. And then you're going to continue to review this with them every month, every 3 months, whatever it would be, depending upon the needs and wants of your clients. Okay. So you don't have a formalized process to onboard a client, and so you don't have that information. This is one of the biggest mistakes that people make. They don't get clarity on the specific problem with where they are stuck. And so the clients, the customers that you serve, if they make big gains or big changes, they may not associate it with you. If they don't realize what you're doing, then they're not going to give you credit for it. One client expressed with me before starting, he said, I was at wit's end and ranked the quality of a sales process and marketing strategy at a 1 out of 5. Okay? That gives clarity for him and for me. It's very specific. And guess what? 3 months later, I reviewed where he was and he was at a 4 out of 5. Do you understand? Okay, Tom, this is where you were. You were at a 1. Now you're at a 4. Now tell me why. And I would review the past with him and I would say, I didn't make up the number, he did. And I'd say, wow, what was it about our time over the last 3 months that helped you go from 1 to 4? And he said, this. And I pointed out, how about this over here? And he goes, wow, I forgot all about that. If you don't bring to your clients' minds the things that you're doing, going over and above for them, there's no value. How many of you, let me ask you a question. How many of you have gone over and above for your clients, but never told them, and you thought, man, they don't even appreciate and understand what I'm doing for them? Give me a thumbs up if you've done that. Okay, thanks, Anna. I appreciate it. Yeah, we all have done that. This is why you have to have a formalized process so they understand what you're doing, what you did, and why you're doing what you do. If they don't know it and you don't have it documented, guess what? It's like it's never even happening in your client's mind. So the number 2 mistake is you don't have a formalized process to track the progress from where they started to where they are now. Okay? So at first it was just having a formalized process in place. Great, but you have to have it so it's not only just starting, but it's tracking throughout the entire client or customer journey. Does that make sense? One of my clients started with me 6 weeks ago. 6 weeks ago yesterday, and I was reviewing my Blue Pass with her, and she told me, and I was asking her, where would you score us on a scale of 1 to 5? And she said a 5. I said, wow. And she was working with a Grant Cardone coach previously. Or she's still working. She hired me even though she was working with a Grant Cardone coach. And she said, Chaz, we've accomplished more with you it was 5 weeks. We met yesterday, which made it 6 sessions. So this is before the 6th session. We have accomplished more with you in 5 weeks than we have with the Grant Cardone coach in 7 months. Does that sound like a good something post, video, something that I want to share? Most definitely, with their permission, of course. And so I drilled down. So what is it about the Grant Cardone coach as opposed to what I'm doing? What differentiates me from the Grant Cardone coach? And by the way, just so you know, I have a lot of respect for Grant Cardone. He's a billionaire. He has many successful businesses. And so this is a coach who bought a license, who's executing on Grant Cardone's coaching strategy, okay? So, and she said, well, one of the things is the language that you helped with our salespeople, because they have 3 salespeople on their team. It said we started scheduling more meetings right in the first 2 weeks. And then I was reviewing with them the Blue Pass strategy. And she said, because of that Blue Pass, and I already knew this because we always do the wins at the beginning of each conversation. She said, we've had 2 upsells and 2 cross sells, which is more than we did with the Grant Cardone coach. And these were opportunities that we didn't even realize were there. And since we had a process with a strategy, we used this to go back to clients who haven't been working with us in years. This reignited the relationship, and now we're working with them and we're picking up additional opportunities. You all understand what I'm talking about here? Okay. Number 3, you don't have a formalized process to create a culture of healthy dialogue. to have those difficult conversations with your clients. They need to feel safe to tell you, Michael, Mark, Randy, you guys are really blowing it right now. You got to create that culture. If you don't create that culture, and if you're afraid to ask for feedback, and I'm talking about genuine feedback where you're like the guy said, you guys are really, I mean, I won't tell you the language. It was more like a bleep, bleep. Okay. If you don't have that formalized process, you're going to miss out in developing a relationship. You're going to miss out in having the longevity for their clients. You're going to miss out on having upsells and cross-sells. Okay. So because of this, my clients who execute on this, they're increasing their upsells and cross-sells 37% and above, up to 37% and above. And they have a way of increasing the lifetime value they have with their clients. And the newer businesses who are utilizing this have a specific way to track where their clients start within the client journey, the customer journey with them. And then they can track, okay, you're here in 3 months, now you're here. Okay. And when you have that conversation and people are saying, yeah, 4.5 out of 5, a 5, it's easy for you to say, is there anything that would prevent you from sending additional business our way? No, not at all. And then you can talk about, well, I know you have this over here. Is there anything else that you need help with? And it's so simple. It's so easy with the right tone. That's the technique, with the strategy and the tactic, with the right attitude, you showing up as the authority, guiding and directing the conversation, that it will lead to upsells and cross-sells. And you want to know something that I didn't even think about? We begin to get more recommendations without even asking, more referrals without even asking, because we developed that relationship, we solved the problems, we identified it, we had those difficult conversations with our clients. All right. Anybody have any questions? If you want to come on up and discuss this about what we talked about, there's no video, so obviously I can't share my screen with you. If you have a question about what we talked about or anything about sales and marketing you need help with, put your hand up. I think it's the bottom right-hand corner. I don't have it on mine because I'm already here on stage. Put your bottom right-hand corner and come on up. Michael? All right. Come on up and introduce yourself. Unmute, bottom right-hand corner, and let everyone know who you are, what you do. Bottom right-hand corner is the mute and unmute button. If you're on your laptop or phone or desktop, I still think it's whether you're there, phone or whatnot, it's the bottom right-hand corner. So sometimes LinkedIn audio events can be wonky. Bottom right-hand corner. Michael, anybody else want to come up on stage and see if they're having a problem unmuting their mic? Randy, Anna, Mava, Mark, Stephen, Christopher. Anybody? Aaron, Manish, Adrian. Oh. Is it Zainab? I saw you up here, but all of a sudden you're like, oh. All right. Eugene. Rose, Gail, Jeremiah. Anyone else? All right. You know, a lot of times people don't want to get on stage. Michael's broken the ice, but for some reason he's not able to unmute his mic. Bottom right-hand corner, Michael. If you could unmute your mic, then I can give you directions. But okay, thank you, Jeremiah and Anna. Boom. Anna, hopefully you can unmute your mic. Bottom right-hand corner. Do you see it?
Yes, I found it.
Yay! All right. Awesome. Now, are you just coming up on stage because you're trying to help us out?
No, I actually have a question.
Oh, please ask. Oh, introduce yourself and let everyone know what you do.
Hi, my name is Anna Aberly. I'm actually the owner of Aberly West Design and Marketing, and what we do is custom graph design and printing that I outsource to other printers. So I don't print myself.
Got it. Very cool. What's your question?
So my question is, what kind of questions can we ask when we onboard a new client that would help us build a stronger relationship in the future?
Yeah, that's a great question. It's just so you know, it's the simplest, most basic questions that you ask that are going to be the most meaningful, but you need to drill down, meaning ask additional questions. So let's just take Anne, for instance, as we'll go back 5 weeks. I'm onboarding her as a client, and I'm like, Anne, now I'm going to set it up on why I'm going to ask the question. So Anne, I don't know if you've ever seen anything like this. I have a blue pass, and I would be showing it to her. And I want to track your journey because my why is to help you see and realize your potential. So in order to do that, we need to be real specific and honest with where you are currently. Like in my world, it would be with your sales process and your marketing strategy. Like I was just explaining with my with the other person I was talking to, Thomas. And so she would say, "Oh, blank, blank," and I would say, "Okay, why did you score yourself a 2 or whatever she would score?" And so this is the drilling down and asking additional questions. You get clarity. So not just getting, "Oh, a 2. Okay, good." No, it's a 2. Why is it a 2? And everyone out there, this is the 3X formula that I'm talking about right here and now. The 3X formula, Chaz, what's that? I'll tell you. It's about getting clarity because every time you ask a question, you only get a certain amount of information. So the 3X formula is asking up to 3 questions to get clarity on where they are. So this is how it worked. So if Anna was my client, Anna, she gives me a 2. I'm like, "Oh, a 2. Okay. Why do you score yourself a 2? Well, we don't have a predictable way to identify and identify clients, and so we're lacking filling the top of our funnel." Oh, okay. So sounds like you might have a story. How does this play out in your world and amongst your team each and every week? Then she would go into details, and then I would circle back with the third question. So with this going on right here and now, how is that affecting you personally? Well, Jazz, this is why I hired you. It's bleep, whatever it might be. So does that help, Anna, and make sense?
Yes, it actually does.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you for coming up. And by the way, Michael, I just got a notification on here. It says you're having problems getting people on stage and so they could unmute themselves. I think that was between you, Michael, and Anna because it's working now. So if you look, Michael, down the bottom right-hand corner, see if you could unmute yourself and we can have you ask your question. All right? Or we just had someone else on stage. Where'd they go? They disappeared. So I do these events every Thursday. I used to do twice a week. And now I'm spending a little bit more time just in preparation. So I can just do one event a week, but have a better conversation with all of you. And if you want to get on my email list, just send me an email. Again, Chazhorn at chazhorn.com. No Chaz.horn, Chaz_horn, just Chazhorn at chazhorn.com. And I'll give you a link so that you can register and be on my email list. But with the email list, I give different tips and strategies about sales, marketing, upcoming events. And when my newsletter comes out, I always share that as well. And plus, if you're on the email list, you'll get the replays of these events. Now, just to let everyone know, it usually takes about 2 weeks to get all the editing and the work on the back end so that you have access to the replay. I say this because I had a guy who's sent me an email 3 days after he requested a replay. And where's my replay? I said, I apologize because I didn't communicate that there's going to be 2 weeks. So I wanted to just communicate that so you all know. All right. Let me have a 10-second countdown to see if anybody wants to come up on stage and ask any additional questions. And then I will leave with a last tip for the day. Okay. So
Hi,
Tim,
Chad. Michael.
Michael, yay! Awesome.
How you doing?
Good. Great to hear you.
Yeah, I heard you there, and for some reason my mute button just did not work. But I'm here. I heard you calling. Um, the Blue Path, very, very, very interesting. Um, Looking forward to getting it. You were talking about how to use that to introduce new clients.
hmm
Um, Uh, if you could just one moment and go back over that, just a quick recap,
Sure.
I would be very interested in, and maybe all of us would be very interested in hearing how you do that because I think you went over that. And if you just recap that before you leave, give us a little recap on how you use that to introduce new clients. I think we'd all be interested. Thank you very much.
Yeah. All right. Thank you. And everyone give Michael a hand because he's the first person on stage. I should give out prizes for first people to come on stage because they are the pioneers that make way for people like Anna and others to come up on stage. Okay. So I'm going to I'm going to discuss how my client took this to the next level to answer your question. So, what they do is they have an onboarding meeting and they call it a set to pass meeting. And before this, they had no formalized process. Yes, they had good conversations with their clients, but just so you know, they rated after doing this a 6 out of 10 with their clients, and now it's a 9 out of 10. And let me explain why they went from 6 to 9. So there's specific things they do. Now, what set to pass does, or I'm sorry, set to close does, they're into it's SET, the number 2, close. That's the name of the company. And so they like to go with that theme. Set to close, set to pass. So as they're onboarding, they have a number of categories, and what they do is they help businesses optimize their CRM. They specialize in HubSpot and they use other CRMs where they are, and they have a lot of different categories, Michael. And they're like, okay, so right here with the automation that you have in place, and they're actually looking under the hood and looking at their systems and processes, and so they will pre-fill this out because they're looking under the hood at their CRM before they even become a client. It's like going to an auto repair shop. They look under the hood and then they give you a quote. This is the process they use. We actually worked this out with them, and it's led to $120,000 increase in sales above and beyond what they have ever done before just 2 months ago. So what they did, they have all these different, I can't remember the specific number, 29, 35, whatever. They're going in step by step by step, and they have all the decision makers in the meeting. And so they're saying to help with brevity of this, we've added some scores based on what we looked at and wanted to get your feedback. So they walk step by step. So what's your current automation right now? How effective is it? And so they're saying, we gave you a 4 out of 10. What would you do? Yeah, well, we'd probably give you a 3. So this is the formalized process that they have with a set to pass, a blue pass, or whatever you want to call it, okay, where they're identifying where they are currently. It's really important for your clients to say and document it because we all forget things. 3 months, 6 months from now, if you don't document and you don't have this on the pass, and they review this with their clients in 3 months. Okay, you guys were at a 2 out of 10. Now it seems like you would be an 8 out of 10 based on what we're seeing with the automation and the meeting schedule because they have all access to their HubSpot or whatever they're using. And they say, yeah. So you're getting clarity and you're getting the decision makers who all agree upon the number of where they are at right now. Not just one person who is gathering information or onboarding, and then they're giving the information to other people. They're getting the decision makers involved in the conversation from the get go. And so, yeah, we're at a 2. Most companies don't do that. As I said, it was like, I forget the statistic, but 80 some percent of companies don't have a formalized process. Does that help, Michael? It makes sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for recapping that and explaining. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for the question. It's a great question. So now some of you may say, "Well, I have one question, Chaz." So I'll do the countdown. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. If you got something out of this, share. And again, I'll send you the Blue Pass uh, document within the next probably 24, 48 hours. All right. There was one guy who said that I didn't send him. It was for a chat GPT for prompts. He said, "Hey, and Chaz, I never received that giveaway." And I said, "Well, I missed it. I didn't see a notification." So if for some reason you share this and you don't receive something, I'm really good about doing this. And I actually have one of my virtual assistants go through to make sure because they're more detailed than I am. But if you share this and in a couple days you don't see anything, just send me a message, all right? So next Thursday, I'm going to talk about sales, ChatGPT, and Claude 2. Claude 2 is actually something I am enjoying more than ChatGPT, and then we'll dive into AI. Thank you, Randy. And if you want to schedule a meeting for me to analyze, to assess your sales process and your marketing strategy, send me an email to chazhorn@chazhorn.com and put sales and marketing analysis. We'll schedule a meeting. You'll be glad you did. You're not going to be in a meeting with me and me trying to coerce or convince you. That's not what sales is about. Sales is about helping you see the obstacle, burst through the obstacle so you can achieve the goals. Thank you, everybody. Have a good day.